Hi everyone, greetings from the tropical jungles of Ecuador. So how exactly does Sweden get away with taxing lower income people at 60%, right? So if you're making like less than $37,000 a year and you're paying 60% taxes, how do they get away with that? I thought Sweden was a shining example of democratic socialism, at least according to millennials in the United States. And under democratic socialism, of course, we're supposed to tax the billionaires, so they pay their fair share, and then all the poor people are supposed to pay low taxes because, of course, they're poor and they can't afford to pay taxes. So how is it that this supposed shining example of democratic socialism, Sweden, is taxing lower income brackets at such an insanely high rate? Why are they squeezing the poor? And why do the rich have lower taxes there? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because the poor are loyal taxpayers. That sounds nice. What does it actually mean? It means that they don't have the economic mobility to move. What happens when you tax the shit out of rich people? Well, they leave. They either hire lobbyists and have loopholes put into the law to get out of paying the actual tax. That's why when the tax rate was the highest bracket in the U.S. was 95% for the mega rich in like the 1950s. Very, very few people actually paid 95% of their earned income. There are always ways around it, not to mention that most rich people don't have most of their income from earned income. Most of it comes from capital gains tax anyways, and other things, other types of income. So Sweden gets away with it because poor people can't leave. When you tax rich people very heavily, they leave, they move their assets offshore, they move their businesses offshore, they do things like that, and you don't end up getting the end result. But if you tax, if like Sweden, you tax the ever-living fuck out of poor people. In Sweden, the poor people are literally bending over and just taking it in the asshole from the state. They get away with that because the poor people just can't move. If you're making $30,000 a year and you live in the U.S. or Europe and the cost of living is pretty high, how are you going to move your entire family out of the country? It's incredibly expensive to do that. You got to stay and you got to pay the taxes. That's how it works. Bernie Sanders is wrong.